Father John Geaney of the Paulist Fathers, and this is Psalm Sense. You know what? I want you to get into some trouble. And you're probably saying to yourself, what kind of priest is this who wants to get us into trouble? And my answer would be, well, I want you to get into some good trouble. The kind of trouble that John Lewis, the congressman from Georgia, often spoke of. And he was one of the people who did exactly that. Got himself into all kinds of good trouble. He was the man from Troy, not Troy in one of the great early kingdoms, but instead Troy, Alabama. He crossed the Paulist Bridge in Alabama. He was beaten there, given a fractured skull. People thought he wouldn't live, but he lived. And he was beaten even though he was crossing a bridge in utter disregard of the scene around him, of people using clubs and horses and other kinds of instruments to beat people who only wanted freedom. And they did it all non-violently. John Lewis demanded that of all the people around him because he followed Martin Luther King Jr. And Martin Luther King was a great proponent of non-violent ways of getting to people and helping them to realize that everyone in the United States was not free, that there were indeed people who were descendants of slaves, who even today find that having black skin does not help them one bit to gain the kind of justice that we guarantee here in the United States. So I want you to get into some good trouble, to be able to stand up and say that black lives truly do matter, and that it's important for us, all of us, regardless of who we are, to realize that every person, everywhere in the United States, should be free, just as our Constitution proclaims that we will be. The psalmist joined in some of that demand for justice in Psalm 111, where he says, his handiwork is justice and truth. His precepts are all of them sure, standing firm forever and ever. The psalmist is telling us that God's handiwork is justice and truth. And each of us has to recognize that for justice and truth to take place in our country, everyone, regardless of the color of their skin, deserves to live in the freedom that has been guaranteed to each of us by our Constitution. For Psalm Sense, I'm Father John Geaney. And remember, we stand together when we stand apart.